If you think that this is a normal cartilage, you should probably watch the whole video. So in today's video I'll talk about the black cartilage line sign or the black line sign, and it's a specific finding on a knee MRI that you can see, and we go through the theory and I will show you some cases and we have a little discussion about it. So here's a typical case of a black line sign in the cartilage. Here we are at the level of the knee, transverse sections, and you can see here in the trochlea femoris, just here in the trough, that there is a black signal in the cartilage and it's perpendicular to the surface. So it's always running at this location in a vertical orientation, and you can see that we even have some subchondral changes here in the adjacent bone. So this is the so-called black line sign or black cartilage line sign, and it's believed to be a cartilage fissure. So it's not like a degeneration or a malacia of the cartilage, but it's rather a fissure of the cartilage. So just remember to always look here at the trochlear trough for this sign, and if you see this you can report a cartilage fissure here. Originally it was described for T2 weighted sequences. Here we have a proton density or intermediate weighted sequence with fat saturation, but you can see this also on these sequences, not only on T2. If you look closely you can also see this on your coronals, and you can see here in the cartilage we have this black line here consistent with a fissure. Now here in a different case, again with a proton density fat saturated sequence, transverse sections of a knee, and if we scroll through we can see here that we have a linear signal intensity or a signal abnormality in the cartilage here in the trochlea femoris, consistent with a fissure here at this location. In this patient we even have a cartilage defect here at the medial facet of the trochlea here, and you can also nicely see this here on your coronals, the black line here in the cartilage consistent with a fissure, and here some cartilage abnormalities here just medially. And here again to show you that you can also see this on your coronals here. And here in the last patient, this time we have a T2 space sequence, and you can see here if we scroll down here, so we have the patella, we have the cartilage of the trochlea. If we scroll down we can start to see here a perpendicular hypointense line in the cartilage, and this is the black line sign. At the time of this recording it's actually the Thank You Patreon Day for 2019, and I also have to welcome two new patrons this week, and that's Mani and Emilio. Both are pioneer patrons who are pledging $10 each every month, and this is really appreciated. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you really enjoy the content over on my Patreon page as well as here on my YouTube channel. And here you can find a list of all my current patrons. If you want to support my videos and my channel, and if you really like what I do, go over to my Patreon page, have a look there, and consider to become one of them. It's really great to have you there, and we do extra videos every month and sometimes quizzes, and you can vote in a monthly vote or poll what topic you would like a video to see about. This report here by Stevens was the first publication describing the sign here, the cartilage black line sign, and it's from 2011, and we can have a look at the images here, and you can see that he is showing here this black line here, and in arthroscopy it was corresponding to this fissure here. And here in another patient, here the fissure, and here on arthroscopy. But it's not always the case, so often you have this sign here, but the arthroscopy or the surgeon reports that the cartilage is looking fine, and some authors argue that the superficial layer might still be intact. So you might wonder, why is it dark on a T2 weighted or fluid sensitive weighted sequence? If it's a fissure, shouldn't it be bright or hyperintense? Now there is a paper that is specifically dealing with this. Now let's have a look there. So this is the review article about the hypointense cartilage lesions, and they discuss different theories why it is dark on a T2 weighted sequence, hence the black line sign, and not bright as we would normally expect from a fissure in a cartilage. And there are different theories, and it has to do with MR physics and stuff like that, which I'm not going into detail, first of all because I'm not interested in stuff like that. If you are, feel free, I put a link to this paper in the description down below. This article is freely available on ResearchGate as opposed to the first one. Now let's first have a look here at the images. Again, you can see the black line sign here in the trochlea femoris, the one that I was showing you. And you can also sometimes see hypointense signal changes in the cartilage at other locations, and be mindful that this might actually be a cartilage fissure and a cartilage defect and not necessarily normal finding or some kind of magic angle or anything like that. Sometimes you see these hypointense changes also adjacent to normal fissures. They go into detail here. Before we close up here, let me just show you a very important differential diagnosis here. Let's have a look here at this case. This is again a proton density weighted fat saturated sequence, and if we scroll down here at the level where we would expect a black line, we see maybe a little bit of a change here in the cartilage actually. And if we go further down, you can see some changes here. So you can see a black sign or a black cartilage or something black in the cartilage rather. But always make sure that you're not dealing with a intracartilaginous osteophyte. So take your second plane, and you can see here nicely that here in this case, this is actually a osteophyte within the cartilage. And you frequently, well, you can see this on knee MRIs, it's not so frequent, but make sure that you don't read this as a cartilage defect. So this is one of the differential diagnoses, but typically they are more at the condyles and not so much in the trough of the trochlea. So what did we learn this week? There is a black line sign on knee MRI, and it's a black line in the cartilage perpendicular to the surface, and it's supposed to be a cartilage fissure. Report it if you see it. The clinical relevance is somewhat unclear, and frequently in arthroscopy the cartilage surface at least is still intact. I would still report it because it shows that you had a good look at the MR at least. If you liked the video, give it a like and also make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and see you next week.